Hey guys, Full/Polygon here. Welcome to a little PvE interlude. I am trying to put together a low-level build, so I want to get the Agape Ring as quickly and air quote efficiently as possible early on. So I thought I would just do a little live run, and while that's going on, just to show you my route, while that's going on, talk about some tips and strategies that I always employ to accomplish that, and then maybe share some thoughts about the Agape Ring in general. Something about it is just not sitting right with me. Something about the Agape Ring still causes me a lot of grief. Pun intended. So here we go. All things Agape. All things Agape sounds absolutely filthy. Ew. And speaking of filthy, segue, there is a chance you are seeing this and thinking, what the fuck are you doing? This is just a griefer training video. We do not need stuff like this out there on the webs. We do not need to be showing people how to go out there and be overpowered as early as possible. I did think about that. I did consider that. One, that shit's out there already. This is a very classic route that's been there probably since, I don't know, minute 3 after we discovered the Agape Ring location when it was added to the game, even before Scholar the First Sin. And I think that people are so enthusiastic, people that are so hell-bent on going out there and griefing, being as overpowered as early as possible, figured it out a long time ago. They don't need this. But I do think it's a nice vehicle to give me an excuse to talk about the Agape Ring, to talk about some of the positive aspects of acquiring it as early as possible in terms of managing your build, especially because we still live in a world of soul memory. I think it's also just kind of a cool thing. It's a nice little piece of knowledge. It's always fun to do things like this and then just kind of see how you do it versus the way that I do it versus the way that somebody else does it. So it's just kind of a nice communal knowledge sharing thing. I was also going to talk about the build that I'm putting together a little bit because I'm not making a griefing build. I'm trying to make a reverse griefing build. I'm going to join up with the blues and then go out there and babysit. And so based on some of my experiences playing Scholar, getting back into it, I thought it would be kind of a fun thing to do. So I will talk about that over the course of it. Let me also just say that if you're not interested in the commentary at all you want to do is see the route. I tried to speed it up as much as possible in places where it was relevant. So feel free to just mute the track, zone out, let it play in the background, skip around in the video, whatever the fuck you're going to do to make it more enjoyable or helpful to you. So let me talk about the route. So we have 2 bosses that stand in our way. We have the old Dragon Rider. No, just the Dragon Rider. He's not old. Though he gets old, they added so damn many of them in this game. So we have the Dragon Rider and then we have the Flexile Sentry. So we're going through Hades Tower of Flame into No Man's Wharf. That'll take us to the Bastille. We'll pick up a Fragrant Branch of Yore along the way, which I'll show you guys, and then that'll allow us to unpetrify Strayed. He'll yell at us for a little bit, but eventually sell us the Agape Ring. For these runs, my general approach, or I'm sure everyone's general approach, is ignore everything. Or ignore everything as much as reasonable. I will kill some enemies here and there. I'm not going to try and do just bosses. I'm not good enough to do that. Here I am. We're already at the Dragon Rider, so it was a pretty quick run to get here. I'm going to cheese the crap out of this guy and just let him fall off the ledge. I screwed it up there. I missed my timing. This is an old technique you can get just to try and, if you don't raise any of the platforms, you can get them to fall in. Should also call out, I'm not a PvE pro. You will see me make mistakes. I will take some hits. This is not going to be a perfect run. It's just a very casual, I'm going to pick up and start playing and get an Agape Ring as early as possible. So nobody's trying to impress anybody here. We're just trying to do a knowledge share. Also don't want to linger on my gestures because there is a damn parade of giant ass knights and hate helpers back there waiting to just waltz in and kill me. They will chase you down and they will come and get you if you just linger after defeating these bosses. So just be wary of that. And just like that, one boss done. And speaking of, just some slop and personal choices and things like that, calling back to Majula, I did stop off at the well and pick up the Estus Flask Shard. I talked to the Herald and upgraded it and stuff like that. That ties into me not being a PvE pro. I will take hits, I will get popped a couple of times, and I'm going to need to heal. So I went ahead and upgraded my Estus Flask. I'm also going to stop off here and pick up the Sublime Bone Dust, just to make sure my healing stuff is in order, because by ignoring a lot of these enemies, they're pretty aggressive. They will chase you down. You have to do a lot of kiting to do this kind of thing. Here I am looking like one of those arena kids, just missing parry after parry after parry, eventually landing one, and then we'll end the fight. Never mind the 3 or 4 that I missed out there sloppily throwing. It only takes 1. So here I grab my Sublime Bone Dust and I'll upgrade my flask and stuff like that. Like I said, just because I want to be able to heal. But for the most part, we're just kind of skipping over everything. We're definitely not doing any farming, trying to kill as few enemies as possible. Again, the focus being get the ring as early as reasonable. That doesn't quite work because I'll show you guys when I get there, but there is a minimum number of souls that you have to have in your soul memory before Strayed will actually sell you the ring. And if you make a perfect run, you kill nothing except the 2 bosses, you won't have enough to do that. I'll show you when we get there. But yeah, for the most part, we're skipping everything. Once we have the ring, once we can take a much more granular approach to building out this tune, we can always come back and grab some of that stuff. We can do farming for weapons that we miss along the way from some of the drops and things like that. That's not the concern right now. The concern is ring, 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 ring. I did come back to Majula. This is completely optional. Spent a couple of my souls, leveled up a little bit. I'm trying to make a mini mundane build. I haven't seen mundane builds in a long time, and I was wondering, oh, is that still a thing? So as part of this experiment, I thought I would goof around a little bit with a mundane build, maybe do the double knives or something like that. I tried to summon Bradley just as a meat shield, and I fell in there. See, so imperfect run, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. None of this matters as long as you get the ring. Cool. Ringing it. So in my opinion, this part right here, running through No Man's Wharf, is easily the most tricky aspect of doing this run, because these Varangians that hang out here in No Man's Wharf, I don't know if they live here, I don't know if they just work here, maybe they have jobs as dock hands for the ferry boat that takes people to the Bastille. I don't know what they're doing here, but I do know that they are fast and they are aggressive and they will chase you almost forever, and they have combos that if they catch you in, especially in groups, will just completely obliterate your low-leveled ass. They will just shred you. So there's a little bit of kiting to be done. I'm sure there's something super clever to shoot that bell with an iron arrow, and then you can run straight through. I didn't do that, but I'm coming down here to get this fragrant branch of yore. While I have a little bit of breathing room, I'm going to try and take out some of these shadow guys, because these guys are also super aggressive, super fast, faster than you sprinting. They can chase you down and they will eat you alive. Things were getting a little too heated up there, so I came down here, which is a strategy I also employ for a couple of reasons. One, just general kiting. But 2, if you find yourself in a sticky situation and you're thinking, I don't know if I'm going to get out of here, try and die someplace where it's convenient to retrieve your bloodstain. This fragrant branch of yore, had I died up here, is a little bit out of the way. It might have just led into a loop where I would have, I don't know, I would just have to keep retrieving my bloodstain, and then the guys would catch me and kill me, and then retrieve and catch and kill, retrieve and catch and kill. Versus had I died down there on the pathway that leads to the boat, I got to go that way anyways, so I could have just picked up my stain along the way. Just a little trick that I use, because I've died here plenty of times. But we did manage to kite those guys, we did manage to grab the branch of yore, we're all set. All we need to do now is take out the Flexile Sentry. It did probably give me a little bit of forgiveness as well, because the boat takes a little bit of time to actually arrive. So there's been times when I ring the bell and then run immediately here, like in a perfect run, grabbing the branch of yore, and the boat has not arrived yet. And then you just have to sit there and bite your nails on the dock waiting for that gate to open while you've got Varangians and shadow killers coming to get ya. But we made it. And now we have only to defeat the Flexile Sentry with our base dagger and slightly higher than minimum stats. This was kind of a challenge I brought upon myself by picking the Explorer as a starting class, just starting out with that. Had I picked up some other weapon along the way, this would have been a lot easier. But, oh my god, this is just an exercise in patience. This guy is not going to kill you because he's hard. He's going to kill you because you get bored with your weak-ass knife doing slightly more than chip damage to him. This is going to be a long fight. I speeded up in a little bit. But, oh my heavens. It's trying. It's trying. But it might give me a chance to talk about something else for a little bit. So I'm going to let this play in the background, and then let's talk a little bit about the ring itself. Because like I mentioned in the intro, I'm a little bit vexed. Now, I'll say I like the Agape Ring in that I think it's a cool addition for letting you granularly manage your soul memory. It's really, really helpful for farming. There's a lot of armor sets in the game. There's a lot of weapons in the game. Manage your stamina. That can only be acquired via farming. And back in the days before the Agape Ring existed, this was a huge drain on if you were trying to maintain any semblance of soul level-ish meta for like in the PvP community or something like that. Because say you had a 150 build at, I don't know, 2.2 million soul memory or something like that. It might be a little high. I don't care. And then you decided, you know what? I would like to use some Drake Keeper armor. Let me try and check that out. So you jump back into the Dragon Shrine and you start farming the Drake Keepers, who drop a decent amount of souls. And you're trying to stick to your 150, but for each of them that you kill and their weird sporadic drops for the armor, and you have like 6 leggings and no gauntlets and all that crap, you have to keep killing them, keep killing them, keep killing them, and it's ticking up your soul memory counter. So eventually you might just like price yourself out of the soul memory tier range that'll allow you to get consistent 150-ish PvP. So I think it's great for farming. That's super cool. Thank God he's finally dead. That's super cool. But the weirdness of it for me is that it's still I'm not gonna go off on soul memory. I've done that in the past. Whether you like it, love it, it's good, it's bad, it's ugly, whatever, it's here to stay. They never, air quote, fixed it. It's a core mechanic of the game. It is the way of life, and it is the primary mechanic by which matches are put together. The Agape Ring helps bring some sort of order around a level-ish matchmaking scheme, which is great for like the 150 meta community or 120 or 30 or whatever the meta community that you subscribe to might be, or not at all. I don't care. But it still has nothing to do with the actual soul level, and I think that's what's weird. It allows you to cap the soul level at which you are and the soul memory at which you are, because you can't upgrade any more further. You're not acquiring souls and stuff like that, but it still has nothing to do with level. And it seems weird that we're trying to apply it to like a level-based matchmaking system when the level has nothing to do with it. It's still soul memory under the hood. You can say, lock it at 150 using an Agape Ring, and then you won't tier out of that. But the 150 is just some arbitrary number that you were able to put together with whatever amount of souls you've acquired along the way underneath for weapons and gear and leveling up your character. And it seems just like this weird disconnect. And that's probably me just looking at it wrong, but something about the Agape Ring and the way that we were using it just always struck me as odd. I'm glad it's there. It helps with farming. It allows you to go out and do some invasions and not, go up to 14 million soul memory as a 150 because you've done that many invasions and you're glowing like a champ and all that shit. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on that. I'm going to get back to the run because I got to kite the hell out of these dogs, man. So I ran in here. I gotta go all the way back to where Lucatiel is hanging out to grab the Antiquated Key. And there's a lot of dogs and an irritating gate in my way. So I did a lot of back and forth, did a lot of kiting. Luckily, this guy helps me out by kicking a barrel down there. He'll take out some of the dogs for me. And once I'm able to run past everybody, I am just gonna bolt and hide right up in that tower, right in front of me, wait for the heat to die down, and just be a little bitch for a couple of minutes. Let people lose their aggression, and then I'll grab that key. I'll talk to Lucatiel too, because she's charming. She's not charming at all. Good Lord. But we're just hanging out. Got a nice little view of things. Nice little vantage to look down. I think I try and blow up the barrels on the other side of this door just to see if I can. But for whatever reason, the fireballs don't follow camera aim. You could probably do it with binoculars, but... So I'll give Lucatiel a nice little jaw wagging. Is that what it's called? I wish I hadn't, because this guy comes right back and he blocks my way out for a little. I have a little trouble getting around this guy. Can we go this way? Nope. How about on this side? Nope. There we go. Get past him. And the only thing left to do now is run back the way we came, head on up to Strayed. We've got our branch of Yore. We've got our low soul memory. And that's all she wrote. Luckily, we did not get invaded by the Forlorn. I have been invaded here by him a couple of times. He pops up right on that little bridge by those wardens or undead jailers or whatever they call. Screw you, pursuer. I ain't got time for that. And that can definitely throw a wrench in your plans, because he will definitely chase you down across the entire level, which is fine. You can lose him up here in a little bit. So we're just back to the normal plan. Oh, here's another thing too. Dog chased me down, blocking my climb up the ladder, just doing my little potty dance. In those situations, just abort freely. If something is blocking you, don't sit there and spam rolls. Don't sit there and just try and keep banging your head against whatever wall is blocking you. Just get out, reset, and then come back to it. That is something that I struggle with often. A lot of times if I'm boxed in by enemies or something like that, I'll just sit there and panic roll. That is a recipe for a quick death versus trying to run away, spread them out a little bit. It's just ineffective kiting. But yeah, like that dog, you find yourself blocked on a ladder, get out, and then come back to it. So yeah, final stretch, man. You do have to be a little bit careful of these exploding mummies. If you wake them up, or like the two from downstairs will come up and get you. They can get into a pattern too, where they're all exploding at different times, where like one of them will knock you down, and just as you're getting up, another one will go into his little exploding animation, and that can be trouble. Like right here, this could have been an absolute disaster. But luckily I got up. They didn't get into that loop, so I'm just gonna kill them. Souls be damned. Sit at the bonfire, give everything a nice little reset, and then we'll go talk to Strayed. And now here's what I was talking about, calling way back to where he won't sell you the ring until you have 30,000 souls. I did not know this for a long time, because I never really did this run before recently. And the first time I came in here, checked his inventory, it's like, where the fuck is the ring? Did I break something? Did I do something incorrectly? Do I have to beat the last giant before he'll sell me the ring? Some random criteria that was not met? I don't know. No, it's a soul memory minimum. I don't know why that's in place. Maybe it brings you some sort of solace or comfort in the fact that if you are the absolute lowest soul memory tier, you're in tier 1, this 30,000 and above range can't invade you. So if you do nothing except hang out in the Forest of Fallen Giants and don't kill anything, or you do nothing and hang out in Majula, you will never be griefed. Take comfort in that. But luckily I'm pretty close. So I'm just going to kill a couple of these mummies. I'm actually doing some testing here to show you the granularity of it. So we just killed him. I think we're still under 30,000. Please show your soul memory. There we go. Yeah, 2984. Still no ring in the inventory. I'm not going to sit here and talk to it live. You'll see it happen when it eventually shows up. But that's pretty much it. Soul memory as low as reasonable at 30,000, so he sells you the ring. Nothing but 2 bosses in your way to get here. It's a little tricky to pick up that fragrant branch of Yore in No Man's Wharf, but it is there for the taking. And then you can just kind of bolt your way here. Low soul memory. And this is great for getting a character started early, especially like I was talking about with the farming. You can now go back to the Forest of Fallen Giants and farm for winged spears if you want to. Love that winged spear. You can go back and farm for old knight armor if you wanted to in Hade's Tower of Flame. And now you've just got the ring for future development of the character. I'm going to end it there. I feel like I was talking super fast. Probably missed a bunch of stuff, but that's the gist of it. Let me know your thoughts, feedback, and I'll catch you guys later. All right, bye.